Hello friends, this is Devraj from Sakshi Post. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we have a very special guest on our channel. This is Priya Rajiv and she is a life coach in Hyderabad. So please introduce yourself to the audience.
Devraj, thank you so much for having me on this platform. I'm so excited to talk to you. As he rightly mentioned, my name is Priya and I'm a life coach. And I love working with people. I work with women, I work with children, I work with the youth. And my aim is to help my clients become the best version of themselves.
As a life coach, how exactly do you create an impact in the person's life?
The thing is that life coaching has been there for a while, but I'm glad you asked this question because a lot of people don't know
Yeah, I
what.
think especially in Hyderabad, I don't think a lot of people are familiar with the concept of a life coach.
Yes. So a life coach is someone who helps you get your life. And when I talk about life, is like we all have certain aspirations, we have goals, we have things that we want to do. But many times, it's our self-doubt, it's our lack of confidence in ourselves that take us away from what we want to achieve. So what a life coach typically does is we help you realign your life, get you back on track, and help you, start believing in yourself, because we all have those strengths, but it's just that at times, because of our experiences, because of our beliefs, we tend to deviate from what we really want to achieve, and sometimes we tend to procrastinate. So our aim, we're like little cheerleaders who help you get what you want. So that's what we do as a life coach.
I think your job definitely requires you to have a lot of motivation, because I feel like more than the person that you're life coaching, you have to be in the right headspace. So how do you always manage to keep yourself in the right headspace? Because it is a very mentally demanding job, right?
Yes, it is, because you're constantly giving energy, right? Because when people come to you, they are pretty low. They want that energy from you. So what I typically do is I don't start work before 11. And that works well in Hyderabad because that's when people really start, their day. So I wake up by 6:30. I finish whatever I have to do with my kids. And then I do a little bit of meditation. Then I make sure I work out every day for about 40 minutes, no matter what, and any form of exercise. And then I try reading something about, especially a topic that interests me and is connected to my work. So I call it my gain moment. Like my mornings is a time where I try to gain as much as energy as I can, because I know that I have to distribute it during the day. And it works wonders when you spend that me time and you make sure you do what you love to do in the mornings.
I really like your morning routine, because I feel like sometimes we all wake up and we just want a little moment to ourselves.
Yes.
Where we can reflect and we can meditate and we can grow.
True.
So I think we can all take notes from Priya's lifestyle, because I'm in love with your morning routine. I genuinely think it's something that I have to start doing.
No, and I think initially it becomes a little initially it's difficult to start, because we all love to chill in the mornings. We like to take our phones. And so I have started making a conscious effort to not touch my phone. Okay, so in case there's an emergency call, if it's a call from someone in the family, I take it, but I try not doing anything where it's going to take my concentration away from what I want to achieve during the day for those 2 hours. So it's a lot of discipline, but I think once you start doing it, you get used to it. And then when you don't have this me time, you start feeling a little cranky and you feel something is missing. So it's just that initially, then you get used to it.
I think one thing I picked up from what you said is you're super wary of the fact that you're not around your phone in the morning.
Yes.
And I remember last year we did lockdown yoga, and a whole, I think a major part of it was staying away from your phone. So would you say that your screen time is linked to stress levels or anxiety levels?
It is definitely, because what's happening in today's day and age, all of us, there's so much of external stimulation. We're constantly receiving things. We actually forget being with ourselves. We forget listening to our own voice. It's just like a pigeonhole. You start watching something, you go deep into it, you dive into someone else's life, losing track of your own. And also the brain, it's taking in so much of an overload, because you're watching someone exercising. In 5 minutes, you're watching your friend partying somewhere. Then in the next minute, you're watching something else. So what's happening? It's affecting our focus. It's affecting our concentration. we are all suffering from much more anxiety and stress than we did probably 20 years ago or 15 years ago or when you kids were younger. It's changing, and I just feel we have to be disciplined about the fact that we keep our phones away for at least a certain period of the day so that
Yeah.
you really enjoy being with yourself.
That's definitely like a really interesting perspective because I'm just 20, so I basically grew up along with the internet and I've never looked at social media under that lens. But I can see how, like, looking at a lot of stories, a lot of reels can start affecting your concentration and all. So, you mentioned that you worked with a lot of students and like a lot of teens. I think you mentioned something about 40 teens, I think.
40 teens in this past ever since school has started. Okay, like ever since life has begun again.
Again.
Okay, because 2 years has been tough for everybody, right? But yes, over the years with a lot of kids.
So, could you shed some light on like some of the problems teens these days are facing and like some of the struggles that they're dealing with right now?
Sure. I mean, thank you so much for this question because it's really something that I would like to talk about. The teens, first of all, I want to tell parents watching it, the teens watching it, let's stop judging anybody because we parents have not been born in your era. Okay, so we had it really easy in life. We had no distractions. Okay, and you kids, it's not your fault, but this is the challenge we are facing. So, first of all, we need to accept the situation, we need to embrace what's happening, but at the same time, my special request is that we need to look at two aspects in life, especially these days, which I strongly believe in. One is things that are a gain and things that are a dream. Okay, so now once you start looking at everything, now for example, you're watching an interesting documentary on Netflix, that is a gain. You go work out, it's a gain. But then if you're just watching things which are draining your energy, draining your happiness, you're going to feel depleted. So you need to constantly think like, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling? So I call it a mood meter. Okay, so now suppose you feel happy, you're feeling content. That means you're in a blissful state. You're good. And this is the state you need to be before you sleep. What's happening nowadays because of this exposure or this overload, most of the teens are very tired and they're also very wired at night. And because of being so stimulated, they're finding it a challenge to fall asleep. And then they're actually going against their body clock and the circadian rhythm. So that's why it's very important that after 8 o'clock in the evening, 9 o'clock, you should try to do things that make you feel at bliss so that you fall asleep. Whatever you want to do, I tell people, it's very difficult to tell someone stop doing something now.
Yeah.
Okay, but we should just see how it's working for you. How is it affecting you? And once you understand gain, drain, what do I do? How do I navigate my life? Then you're sorted.
Would you say that like someone's sleep cycle is also closely like related to stress and anxiety? Because I know that a lot of students, when they study for their board exams, like me included, like what we do is we just like stay up all night and like study, and we think we're being really productive because we're like studying at like ungodly hours.
Yeah.
But like you feel so stressed and you feel so anxious. So like, do you think like the sleep cycle could be like the reason why so many people are stressed during exam season?
Yes, the sleep cycle, what happens is that it's everything, I strongly believe in, the energy, I'm also very spiritual. And I feel that as per, our energy is something that we need to hold on to. We need to reserve it. Okay, so very important that most of us must try to sleep a night before the exam, because if you stay up, you're absolutely drained. And as per India and Australia, anyway, it's different. But we need to look at the sunrise and sunset time. And typically, our body starts creating melatonin about 6 to 7 hours after sunset. So if India, say the sun sets at around 7, it's around 11 where our body clock is naturally creating those hormones to help you relax, to help you, get rid of all the active cells, create new cells. So you're getting renewed at that time. So what happens is one night you don't sleep, you're fine. But if it happens like every night, you have to just realize that you're not renewing any of your energy. So you're going to be depleted. And when you don't sleep, your mind doesn't rest. And that's why there's less oxygen in your brain, because
Oh,
you've
wow.
not done what you're supposed to do. You're not. What happens is when you sleep, Devraj, you start breathing slowly, right?
Yeah.
You're awake the whole night, you're studying, you're doing your endorphins, your dopamine, everything is kicking in. So you're breathing fast, you're hyper. So where is your brain resting?
Yeah.
When are you shutting yourself so that you can recuperate and be productive? So that's why we start feeling stressed and anxious. So we need to make sure that, especially during anything important, we must sleep for at least 5 hours during exams. Okay, like many people don't sleep and it really affects them.
Yeah. Something really interesting you said that like caught my eye or my ear
Yeah.
is that like you brought up a very interesting perspective to look at life. Like you said, there's things that give you gain and there's things that drain you.
Yeah.
But and like you have to constantly be aware of like the state of your mind. But I feel like a lot of kids these days, or like at least from my friends, like what I notice is like people just aren't self-aware. Like you could be doing something wrong and it could be a drain. But I feel like we get so engrossed in it that we don't actually know that it's a drain. So what tips would you give for like people like me and like to become more self-aware and to know things in life that give you happiness? Because I feel like a lot of us, like, we don't know what exactly makes us happy. Like we just know when we feel happy or like when we feel sad. So like do you have any tips on like increasing our self-awareness?
Okay. Amazing question again. So there is this book which I read. It's called Permission to Feel, and I recommend it to everybody. So in that book, there's this concept. It's all about emotional intelligence and how to be more self-aware of what you're going through. It's called a ruler approach, okay, where you try to figure your emotions out. So we need to remember two things: that our mind is like a child, and our intellect is like a parent. So the mind will be drawn towards making a lot of mischief, doing things which are not right. But it's our intellect that tells the child, which is the parent, like, listen, stop doing this now. You better get your life on track. You better do this. So how do we sharpen that? So this is a process which is called ruler. Okay. So the first thing is RULER. Okay. This is for everyone out there. R is you recognize your mood. Like,
Recognize your mood.
okay,
Yeah.
what am I going through? Why am I cranky? Why am I feeling irritated? Recognize. Then understand your trigger. What happened for you to feel like that? Okay, was it a comment you read on Instagram? Was it something your mom said? Did you see your best friend partying with another best friend of yours and did not tell you about it? So also these days, the Instagram stories, the Snapchat, everyone knows what everyone's
Yeah.
doing, and everyone's documenting everything. So there could be a third person who is having FOMO,
Yeah.
who is feeling bad. You could be the third person.
I felt FOMO. So yeah.
So you don't know what is your trigger. And then your mom will say, Devraj, why aren't you doing your project? You'll snap at her. But who's been your trigger?
My
Someone
best
else.
friend's partying.
Yeah. So that is when you understand. So the R is recognize your mood, understand your trigger. L is label it. Okay, so for example, now suppose I'm sitting and I see a friend of my age wearing this gorgeous swimwear in a beach, and I've been like cooking because my maid hasn't come, and I'm going to say like, what the hell, yeah? Look at her life, So my emotion at that time is probably envy. Okay, so the L part of the ruler is label your emotion, because you need to name your emotion to tame it. Whether it's anger, whether it's jealousy, whether it's frustration, whether it's just I'm feeling horrible about myself. Whatever, label it. So RUL. Then E, express it. Express it either to your friend who's caused that pain, or write it down in a diary, start journaling, or just take your phone and do whatever you want. Just let that
Emotion out of your body.
out of your system. And this is so much better than going and grabbing a drink, or like smoking, or
like
vaping,
snapping
or
at someone who
snapping,
doesn't
because
deserve it.
These are things that people are doing these days to
Yeah.
numb their pain. If you see society these days, people are looking for external stimulants, but
I think because of like the day and age we live in,
Yeah.
like a lot of like unhealthy coping mechanisms have
Yes.
been made like readily available for
Yes.
people like my age especially.
Yes.
So it's like really easy. Like I feel like if someone was offered, okay, like you're having a very bad day, like you can either smoke a cigarette or hit the gym.
Yeah.
Like
And
I
people
feel like
tend
I
to,
know which one
yeah,
most
but you
people.
tend to go to
Yeah.
what's not right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So that is the RUL,
L,
and E is you must express it.
express.
Okay, don't hold it. And that's for everyone. The more you start expressing it, the better it is, because then you don't go to these wrong things which are easily available. And again, it's not right for us to judge anybody, because it's
Yeah.
important for us to spread awareness. Okay, everyone has a different coping mechanism. Sometimes people have a household or a parents they can communicate with, some people don't, but that's why it's very important to reach out to people who give you the right advice, or
Yeah.
think of this ruler mechanism. So E is express, R is regulate.
Now
Regulate
that
your
you've
emotions.
identified it, keep it under check.
Under check. It's like,
Yeah.
I am frustrated, I'm angry. Can I show it here? No. I will show it to the person concerned, or I will write about it and I'll let it out of my system. So then the ruler approach helps you become more aware of your mood, more aware of your triggers, and then you'll start feeling a lot more calm.
That's actually really smart. I think I don't exactly apply the ruler concept, but
But
it's like a similar concept. Like if I find myself feeling really bad, I'm like, okay, just zone everything out. Like which part of my life is like giving me stress right now?
yeah,
And I'm like, okay, is this under my control? And usually like the answer is no, because I love
yeah,
stressing about things that are not in my
yes,
control. And then
yes.
I'm like, okay, fine, just take a deep breath and let it
And
go.
let it go. And you're right, because when everyone went through the whole pandemic, the lockdown, there were so many challenges that you probably faced which were not in your control,
Yeah.
but you still went through that stress. You must
I
have
think
at that
lockdown
time,
taught
yeah.
me, because I found myself getting so stressed about COVID, but I was like, it's not in my
It's
control.
not
I'm
in
just
our
gonna
control.
live my
Everyone's
life.
going to get it. Life is going to be the same for a while, but it'll change eventually.
Yeah.
And that's a lovely way to look at it. But it's so similar to, except that ruler is more scientifically designed by
Yeah.
somebody. And this is a
It's a more
normal instinct.
systematic
Yeah. This
approach.
is a normal coping instinct which you have, which is very good.
Which book did you say it was? Because I think
Permission to feel.
Permission to Feel. Guys, read that book,
It's
because
really
now I know
good.
what I'm going to order on Amazon when I get home. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of, see, as coaches we need to keep reading a lot,
yeah,
because every client is different, every household is different. It's very interesting. So one thing that we need to do is to keep educating ourselves. Like even we as coaches, we are work in progress. We have to keep studying and keep getting better.
that's good. We've been talking about social media a lot in this conversation, and I feel like a lot of kids these days, like the first thing they do when they turn 13 is like make an Instagram account or a Snapchat account. So how would you suggest that we develop a healthy relationship with social media? Because I don't necessarily feel like social media is a bad thing, but there's obviously certain bad things that you could take from it that could give you stress. So how would you suggest that we work towards a healthier relationship with our social media?
Okay, so now social media is something that every kid or everyone is probably going to get into. Okay, you can't stop it. It's there. It's
Yeah.
in your house. So if a kid wants to get onto social media, what we need to do as parents is that that suddenly your child's thought process is no longer in the control of your environment. It's out there. It's crossing boundaries. It's going to probably Korea, Vietnam, America, God knows where they're going to get influence from. At that time, you need to apply this method of conscious parenting, where you start working on your kids' confidence and self-esteem. So you're opening the door to other information letting in. You need to strengthen your home, because when you open the main door, you can't stop people from coming in. But if you safeguard yourself and you protect yourself and you work on your self-esteem and your self-confidence, you'll be able to tackle anything that comes in your way. So that is a message that parents need to say. Don't tell kids like, stop doing this, don't do this, because they're going to do it. They're going to probably have an account. They can get their friends to create an account for them. It'll be a different name. It'll
Yeah.
be anything. How can you stop? But you need to build your kids' confidence. Tell your daughter it's fine if you're not a size 0, or you're beautiful the way you are. Tell your son that you're just smart the way you are. You speak well. You don't have to get influenced by anyone, and make sure that the life they lead and prove to the world is similar to the life that they really want. Okay, so the minute kids go away from who they really are, that's when problems start coming in. They try to portray something they're not. Why do they do that? Because of lack of self-esteem, self-doubt, not sure of who they are. But if we strengthen this, it's a
It's an
smooth
easy path. Yeah.
it's a smooth path ahead.
So, like you just spoke about building your confidence and all, which is like very much shaping your mind. And I remember earlier today when we were talking on call, you said that as a life coach, you work on the mind, the body, and the appearance. So, which one do you start at first? Like, is there like a hierarchy of like which is more important? And
Okay, so normally it's always the mind, the body, and the appearance. But what I've been doing off late, okay, I tweaked it a bit. I've started working on the body. I'll tell you why. Because a kid comes to me feeling distracted, feeling, I first say like, are you doing any physical activity? And they're like, no, I lead a sedentary life. So then I'm like, you start exercising. Because what happens is when you start working on your body starts controlling the chemicals generated in your mind.
yeah,
Okay. So if I can't directly enter the mind, I start through the body, because then they're sending those signals. You're exercising, your endorphins are released. You eat the right kind of food, you have serotonin. You take your dog for your walk, you have oxytocin.
Yeah.
So you do this, you get these chemicals released, right? Then it's easier to work on the mind. But if I have someone, so I think it all varies according to the clients, but it's either the mind or the body. The last part is the appearance, because that can be easily fixed. So if someone's
it's not about how you look, it's about how you feel about how you look.
yeah, because if you feel good, Devraj, you can wear anything, you can do anything, and you will stand out. Because at the end of the day, it's your personality that acts like a magnet, not
Yeah,
the clothes
not the
wear.
way you look, not what you wear.
Yeah, not your size, not your. That's why I tell people, don't get paranoid about your body and the way you appear. Just work on your self growth. Then everything else falls into place.
That's good. Another question I wanted to ask you was, I think recently the 10th and the 12th grade board exams came out. And I think like a lot of students, like especially sometimes when like board exam results come out, like they feel feelings of like failure or like they feel unaccomplished. So what words of advice would you give students that might be feeling that way after looking at their results?
One thing is like, please don't be too hard on yourselves, okay? If you look at the most successful people, you'll laugh probably when you hear their 10th and 12th grade marks, okay? Success, happiness, all lies here. When you go meet people, you're not going to carry your report card. Do we carry our 10th standard mark sheet? We carry ourselves. We carry our confidence. We carry our happiness, our attitude. So I feel, don't do anything, or don't feel bad. Don't do anything that's going to wipe your smile off your face. Marks are very secondary, Devraj. What's important is how you deal with life, how you cope with adversities, how you are with your family, how good you are as a communicator, how well you express, how well you. So I feel that this lockdown has taught us not only to focus on our grades, but also focus on ourselves, try to figure out a hobby, try to do something else that we love.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, Devraj, that is what is going to give us all purpose and meaning in life.
That's true. Like you could be the smartest person in your grade, but if you go home and you cry yourself to sleep, there's really no point of you
There's
getting
really
a
no
95
point.
on your exam.
No.
It's just a number.
It's just a number. So please don't be hard on yourself and enjoy your life. Enjoy the process. It's beautiful. You can always catch up. There are people who are changing professions at the age of 45. They're doing a course again. So life has so much to offer. Your 10th and 12th grade marks have no business to wipe your smile or take your energy out.
Yeah. So you just mentioned something about changing professions. Did you always know that you were going to be a life coach? Like, let's say 25 years ago. Did you know that now, like, you're going to be a life coach?
I always wanted to work with people. So from the age of 5, I wanted to be an air hostess, which I was for 10 years of my life. Even in my next life, I want to be an air hostess. The thing, my strengths, so when we are choosing a profession, we need to see whether it resonates with our values and our strengths. Okay, so for example, my values are compassion, empathy, which was used in the airline as well.
Yeah.
All right. And I love being with people, which was again a part of the airline industry.
Yeah.
part of coaching. So the closer you are to your strengths and your values, you will start enjoying your profession. And I always loved helping people in problems. I remember in college, whenever my friends used to break up with their boyfriends, I would be the first person. So I used to be the agony aunt. So an agony aunt is somewhat like a life coach is a little more motivating, and agony aunt probably is more like a therapist.
Yeah.
But yeah, I prefer being the motivating
You're like
one.
uplifting people.
Uplifting. I'm like, listen, forget him, move on, find someone else, like that. Just move on. Don't sit
That's
and cry for
good.
too long. Just move on.
That's good.
I just feel that no one or no situation has the right to take away our smile. That's it. Don't give that permission to anyone else. Only then we'll be happy.
That's so true. I think so far in this interview, we've spoken a lot about like how much you love being a life coach, the best parts of it. Let's talk about the challenging parts, because I'm sure like there are some challenging aspects of being a life coach. So like, what would you say are like some of the challenges you faced along the way?
Sometimes, Devraj, you get kids, you get people who are so who are so broken, okay, who are so confused about themselves that it takes you a lot of energy, a lot of convincing them to actually unlearn and start loving themselves. And to help people start loving themselves at times is the biggest challenge, because you see all their strengths in them, but they don't see it, and they've not seen it in years. So to get them back on the track, you need to really work slowly. You need a lot of patience. But once again, because I love people so much, I don't feel the strain. I feel like, oh, I need to read more about this. I need to read more about that. So I take it as a process where I need to start improving my skills. I'll probably do another course. Like when kids started coming to me because of sleep issues, I started doing a course on Coursera on sleep and well-being. So that I know exactly what is a problem. Is it a physiological problem? Is it an emotional problem? Because when you're coaching, we also sometimes need to know that if there is a genuine physiological problem, they need to see a doctor.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to know whether you can really help that person out. And I think it's important to be honest when you're coaching and say that, listen, I think for this you need help of a psychotherapist, or you need to go see a doctor, because this is only how much we can do as a coach. But we need to, and put them onto the right people. Yeah. Because they come with trust. When they come to you, they come with trust. So it's very important to work like that. So that is the only thing. But otherwise, it's amazing.
I think like one of my favorite parts about like transitioning into adulthood this century is that I think like India as a country is becoming more like aware about like mental health issues and like is like dealing with them properly. But I still feel like in a lot of places though, like mental health isn't taken as seriously, because like I feel like people are just not aware.
Yeah.
It's not that they are against it. I feel like people are just not aware. So if you could say like a few sentences to like educate like the population on mental health and the importance of mental health awareness, what would you say to them?
Okay, so it's like this, okay? We need to remember that the brain is a part of our body. It is a part of our body. How some people have a good metabolic rate. You eat rubbish, you digest it, you burn it, you don't put on weight. Some people may just have a glass of water from outside and they have to see a specialist the next day. They go to a doctor because their stomach is paining. Similarly, some people can process grief in a better way. Some people take a toll. It takes a toll on some people. So our brains are also creating hormones, chemicals, all those things. For some people, it may not create as many happy hormones as it's supposed to create.
It's a very biological thing.
It's a biological thing. So once we start accepting that, okay, you see a change in someone's behavior. If you see someone comes to you and says, I'm feeling depressed, don't say go for a walk or read a book or watch a movie, you'll be fine. Ask them, what is it that's bothering you? Ask them, what is it that you're feeling? Are you feeling like crying for no reason? Then you know that probably the brain is not creating serotonin. Probably something is going on. And especially one thing, everyone needs to know that COVID has affected a few of our receptors in the brain There are a lot of changes. That's why a lot of people are having memory loss, brain fog, depression. It's also because of COVID. So if some people are having blocks in their heart, or clots, blood clots, things can happen even in our brain, because it is a part of the same body. Why is it that some people lose sense of taste, smell? Because there are some motor nerves, some sensory nerves which have been affected.
Yeah.
So that's why now we need to be very careful. And if someone is showing signs of not looking or feeling like the way they did, there's really no harm in seeing a therapist or seeing a doctor or taking it to another level. I think we should stop looking at it as a problem, but just look at it that it can be corrected and rectified, and everyone will start living in harmony and balance. So that's very important for us to look at it in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. Another small question I wanted to ask you is, I feel like you deal with a lot of kids my age.
Yes.
And I'm like graduating college, and I feel like a lot of people might be on the same page as me. Like, I feel like a lot of us sometimes, like, we are always trying to look for like a bigger purpose in our lives. Like, we always feel lost. Like, this is the year where I have to decide my career, and like it's honestly like really stressful, because I always catch myself wondering what's my bigger purpose in life. So what would you say to like a lot of people facing the same struggle, like trying to find their bigger purpose in life? Like, how can they go about it?
One thing I want to tell you all is, don't go searching for purpose. Your purpose will come to you. Okay? When I was 20, I didn't know my strengths were compassion and empathy, and like I love being with people. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was my calling, that was my purpose. When I was 20, I knew that I wanted to sit on that airplane. I wanted to travel. I wanted to travel across the world. I wanted to shop. I wanted to eat well. That was my purpose. So don't take life seriously. Your purpose sometimes comes, I feel, when I'm looking at people, many people find their purpose after 40. Okay, so age 20 to 40 is all about evolving, is about figuring life out, figuring yourself out. Don't take yourself seriously. Even Robert Downey Jr. became successful when he was 52. You see so many success stories. It's after 40, it's after 35. Okay, don't burn yourself out. Enjoy everything.
Live every moment to
Live
the
every
fullest.
moment. Have fun. And also we need to realize that a very high income may give you the apartment, a condo, a house of your choice, a car of your choice, but that again doesn't give you.
Yeah, like you could do a job that pays you really well, but at the end of the day, if you're not happy doing it, then you've
no.
really not succeeded in life.
No, you need to do, even if it's a small thing, be happy. If you can't afford a certain car or a home, be happy with what you have. Be content with what you have, but don't burn yourself out. And don't be hard on yourself. I think there's so much of exposure, and there's so much of stuff that everyone's reading that they feel that they need to arrive by 25.
Yeah.
Don't. Arrive at 40. Or even if you don't arrive, it's fine, but just enjoy life, because you're not going to get this age again. This is the age for you to evolve. The time will come to thrive. So just evolve right now. Just work on yourselves. Do things for yourself that make you happy.
So to finish things off,
Yes.
I think we've spoken a lot about your profession and about life in general, and I think it was like really enlightening. Now let's talk about you. What's next for you? Because I've known you personally for like a lot of years,
Yes.
and I've always seen you like up to something. Like you're always doing something different. Like every year, like
Every
it's a new
year.
project.
It is.
So what's next for you?
Okay, so one thing is I love juggling. I get bored doing one thing, okay? And there are some people who love doing one thing. There are some people who don't love doing one thing. So it depends on your personality. So because I love doing so many things, I started first as an image consultant, but that was only the external facade. Then I started teaching kids etiquette and manners, which I still do, which I love to do, but that again is an external facade.
Yeah.
Okay, so coaching, being a wellness coach, working on a person's well-being, you're actually working with the mind and body, and then doing the other things that I like to do. So I just feel that now, every year, I want to upgrade my skills. Last year, it was the Rise Challenge. This year, it was a sleep challenge, which is very connected, though they're opposites. But
Yeah.
it's all you sleep on time, you rise on time. So I did a lot of courses on sleep. And I think now I want to know and learn more about neurobiology because I'm super fascinated by the human brain. So I have started reading a lot of books on neurobiology. I'm trying to understand the various patterns. And I'm also reading a lot of ancient philosophy and trying to correlate like the philosophy of Buddhism, the meditation, how it improves your brain, how it improves your transmitters, everything. I'm just trying to
If you seem to figure that out, please write a book on it because I will buy it and I will read it because that sounds really
so now you're telling
interesting.
me I should write a book. That's the next thing on my
Ne-
list. Okay, I got that. For sure. But yeah, it's interesting. I think none of us should stop learning, Devraj. Just keep learning.
I think that's a note that a lot of people from the audience can take
Yeah.
too. Just there's no limit to your growth.
No,
Like
there's no limit.
there's nothing such as too much growth.
Yeah.
Like just try to grow. And
Grow
I feel like
every-
as long as you're older, not older, but like you are better than the version of yourself that was there yesterday,
Yeah.
like you're doing well.
You're doing well. Don't think and don't get consumed by what others are doing. We don't know their inside story. Just know your story and I think write your own story. That's it.
That's good. It was lovely chatting with you. Thank
Same
you
here.
so much for like giving us your time and your knowledge and your
Thank you.
expertise.
Thank you so much, Devraj. And I think you're such a lovely, warm human being. I've known you for a while, and I think that you just keep evolving and you will definitely thrive.
Thank
Okay?
you.
So enjoy your life.
Thank you.